So I want to tell you a story. About a year ago, I put out a video review of my LTT PX4 Storm compact carry. My disappointment was immeasurable and my day was ruined.
My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
I had multiple issues with the gun going into battery, failure to feed, decockers were a little bit weird, wouldn't lock back always. So we had some problems with it. While I really wanted to love that gun, alas, it wasn't meant to be. So Ernest and his team were good enough to actually issue me a refund after a couple RMAs. And so like any masochist, I decided to buy the exact same gun. Well, not exactly the same. So instead of buying it through LTT, this time I had my local FFL find a stock version of the PX4 Storm Compact Carry version 2, which is what Langdon usually works on. It was a decent price, just a stock model, didn't have anything done to the trigger, no stippling, no optics cut. It was pretty much just your standard PX4 Storm. But being deeply inquisitive and skeptical, I needed to know. Because previously we had some other issues with that other one. Was it me causing the problems, or is it actually the gun causing the problems? Was it my grip? Was it my thumbs riding on the slide? Was it my support hand? Was it my deodorant? What was actually going on? Why would that gun not work? I hate anecdotal evidence, and I needed something else to go off of. So hence, this is where this gun comes from. So this is not so if this new stock PX4 Storm could work, then we knew that other one, there was just an anomaly somewhere. I was prepared to put my tail between my legs and recant all of my experience in another video if that gun did not work. Like some other YouTubers have recently recanted stuff about LTT products. I respect what any trainer, what any gunsmith, what any skilled gun guy has to say about a product and about shooting technique. I will take it under advisement. But when you tell me that my thumbs are the problem and that's the reason why the gun isn't working appropriately, and it's my grip that's causing failures every single magazine, that just doesn't sit very well with me. So my medium-sized thumbs, my mediocre grip strength, they shouldn't retard the slide enough to stop the gun from functioning.
Everybody knows you never go full. What do you mean?
I had to know. So I did what any sane person would do, and I threw more money at a platform that I did not know would work. When the stock one came back in to me, it just had iron sights, and I shot about 300 to 400 rounds through it before I ever made any other decisions about it. I knew that I could resell it if I had problems, if it really was my grip, but interestingly enough, it was not my grip. That one worked just fine. And then I had another really hard decision to make. Was I going to send it into Langdon to get milled for a red dot? For science, yes, we had to do it. We had to do it. I needed to be comfortable with that. So because I knew there was an LTT resale market, I knew that I could eventually sell it if it wasn't working for me, if it was my fault with the thumbs. So I decided, let's send it in, let's get it milled for a red dot, hashtag red dot life. And I also purchased a Langdon trigger job in a bag to improve the trigger pull and the reset, which I will say on the first Langdon gun, that was probably the highlight of that gun. Incredibly short reset, very, very light, and the pull through the double action was incredibly smooth. So I would install the trigger job once the gun got back to me, and we'd have kind of a Langdon light gun. So I sent off the slide and they milled it. When it came back, I installed the trigger, mounted the red dot, which is an SRO, and then I waited the 24 to 48 hours for the Loctite to cure on the screws, and I took it to the range. When I got to the range, I had a very interesting time. Gone was the frustration. Gone was that pit in my stomach that I felt when I had the non-functional gun previously. The gun shot great. 200, 300 rounds that day, not a single hiccup. Not to mention, doing it this way, sending in a stock gun, saved me about $1,000. So that was a boon. Off we went with the new PX4 Storm that had been customized by Langdon. No major problems arose over about 10 months. Way down in my soul, deeper and deeper, way down.
Deeper and deeper. Way, way down. Too deeper and deeper. Way down. One.
I've always felt that that first LTT PX4 was a lemon, for whatever reason. I think before Langdon and the team actually got a hold of it, maybe even from the Beretta factory, there was something wrong. Whether it was tolerance stacking, whether it was Cerakote, whether it was a break-in period, whether it was barrel to slide fit issues. Obviously, this is a weird mechanism with the rotating barrel, we'll show that. But something was off about that original gun, and I just can't believe that it was my shooting technique. So evidently, Ernest has been able to use the gun that I sent back to them for the refund as a range gun for his events, and reportedly, he doesn't have any issues with it. Amy Langdon had mentioned that in an email exchange that I had with her. But I swear, there's something weird with that specific example of that gun, especially for my hands, whether it was me or whether it was the gun. Thanks, camera guy. Now that I have a custom, semi-custom, almost LTT PX4 Storm compact carry that works, I knew that I could potentially confirm that their custom milling and everything like that wasn't necessarily the problem with that first gun. I really think it was a lemon from the factory. So today is going to be a little bit different. As you can probably tell from the shots behind us, this is a live range. So you may hear some noise pollution from other people shooting. Share the range. Everybody gets to shoot when they want to. But this isn't going to be a normal tabletop review. I'm going to shoot this a bunch on camera. We're going to try to do it as a one take once we get shooting here. One of my buddies is actually going to load magazines to help speed the process along. I owe him a bottle of whiskey or something afterwards. I've shot probably 1,000, maybe 1.5K rounds through this gun already, and I haven't had any problems. So what's another 300 to 500 through it today? My initial Langdon video was meant to bring up issues with that specific gun and that customer service experience. But today, about a year after the debacle, this is the redemption arc. Not only for the PX4 Storm, but also for Langdon. Let me put this in perspective. Before I owned the initial PX4, I owned an LTT 1301 and an LTT 92, and both of those guns. So, I expected that this one would also, and it does. Unfortunately, the original gun did not, but this one can ride for sure. I'm going to talk through some pros and cons in standard Pop Doctor fashion. I'll give you my real, non-influencer, unpaid, straight-up impressions of this gun, this PX4 Storm Compact Carry version 2, customized by LTT. Don't mind the loading. You might hear some sounds in the background while my buddy's loading. So here it is. So nice, I bought it twice. All right, so let's shoot it. Always decock. So if you come over here, we'll show you a couple little things here. So this is a double action, single action gun. It does have a hammer. This is a bobbed hammer. So you'll see when it's in the hammer forward mode, it's pretty smooth on the back, which is nice for carry. You don't want something sticking out or poking at you. So the double action trigger pull with the trigger and a job is very smooth all the way through. You'll see that. And then here's the reset. That's it. So that reset is nasty. Look at that again. Like 3-4 millimeters. That's it. It's crazy light, crazy short. So a very, very cool trigger setup with that trigger job in a bag. I'm glad that that I picked that up. I'll say the standard PX4, the trigger is not super awesome, and we'll talk about pull weights in a minute here, but overall I'd say that the Langdon trigger, they come with a couple different hammer weight springs as well. It's a vast improvement compared to the standard PX4. We'll do a draw here. And you might see that my thumb's moving a little bit, that when I pull. So that's okay. Langdon initially said, Ernest Langdon said that it was my thumb interacting with the slide that was causing malfunctions. Occasionally I'll get some drag. I can actually feel it with my thumb, but I mean, I haven't had the gun stop yet. It's gonna do it now that I said that. We got one more. Give these back to my loader friend. So let's shoot some accuracy. This is probably, I don't know, 15 yards or so. Obviously, I'm not shooting from a bench rest. But we'll see. We'll go up to the target afterwards and see what I can do on the head box on the credit card. And I'm actually we'll do it only from single action. Give the other guy some business. We'll go up here. I mean, 15 yards for a carry gun, that's my fist, my medium-sized fist. That's pretty good for a carry gun. Shooting at a decent pace. I mean, that wasn't like rapid fire, but pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, this gun shoots very, very well. I can't complain about it. It's really good. So let's talk a little bit about the specs. It is a double action. Oof, it is burning the crap out of me right now. Very hot. So it is a double action, single action polymer gun. This is a G model, which for people who are familiar with Berettas, that means it is a decock only mode, meaning the little ears that you see on the back will not go on to safe. They spring back up to a double action mode after you click it. So you cannot accidentally put this on safe. It has a 3.2 inch barrel and a 15+1 capacity. So it's, in terms of capacity, it's similar to, say, your Glock 19. Maybe a little bit smaller in terms of its overall front to back footprint. But one thing I'll say is this gun is fairly chunky, and we can give you a demonstration here. It's wide. So you can see how wide this thing is. It's 1.42 inches wide. And so it's a chunky boy. I would say that In terms of comparing it to a Glock, I looked it up. A Glock is 1.34 inches, so it's almost it's almost a full 1/10 of an inch wider, and you can feel that when you're carrying it. So in terms of carry, is it the most comfortable? Maybe not compared to some other platforms, but it's for how small the gun is otherwise. It shoots like a much bigger gun. So the original trigger was about a 8 to 4 pound transition in terms of the double to single action. With the rotating barrel, kind of the weird, we'll show it again here. I think we're gonna show some B-roll, but you can see the barrel rotates instead of, ooh, it's getting a little bit, we might wanna get a little oil on there, it's getting a little dry. But you can see the barrel rotates a little bit. So because of that, it has a much flatter and smoother recoil impulse than your standard tilting barrel action like a Glock or most of the guns that you're used to shooting. It's more of like a soft push because the gun is not, the barrel is not flipping inside the gun, it's just rotating. This gun has no business recoiling as little as it does. It feels like a much bigger gun. And I've had people shoot it who are used to small carry guns about this size, and there's just no comparison in terms of the way it recoils. So we're gonna load up a little bit more, we'll shoot a little bit more, and then we'll talk about what we did to upgrade the firearm. Double action always. Woo! You almost got it. It's starting to hang up a little bit. I can feel it's getting a little bit dirty, so we may want to put some oil on it at some point. I cleaned it last night, but I guess I didn't lube it all that well. So in terms of recoil and the dot, people will talk about how the dots move. And when I get a good grip on this gun, and you'll see that I've just got some grip tape on it. Ooh, it's hot. When it recoils, the dot is just going straight up and down. The SRO helps a lot because it's a huge window compared to, say, an RMR. But it is literally just straight up and down if you get a good grip on it. And you can see the dot the whole time while you're shooting, as compared to some other guns where I will sometimes lose it in the top of the window and it comes back down. So it shoots soft, the dot tracks very well. We'll take a look at these targets. Obviously, I'm not shooting like Grandmaster USPSA shooting. The groups aren't gonna be tiny, but I mean, for how fast we're going, we're putting most of them in the A zone and the surrounding C zone. So, I mean, it shoots super well. Got my little magnetic thingy in there to hold things. I think we got a couple more. In fact, camera guy, if you could come over here. We've got some 147 grain Spear Lawman. We wanted to try a couple different types of ammo today. If you can see, that's a flat point. I haven't run this type of ammo through this specific gun. I have done it on the previous LTT gun that I had. That gun didn't like any ammo, but we'll see if this one can tolerate a flat nose like this. You can potentially see the little flat nose bullet. So hopefully it runs. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. It chambered. That's always a good sign. Let's see if it likes it or if it hates it. So you might see me flinch there, too bad. It's a little bit jumpier. Spear's always a little bit hotter than your standard range ammo because I think they load it to the same spec as the self-defense rounds, and it's 147. So I can feel it jump a little bit more. Those others that we were shooting were Federal 115 grain, I think American Eagle, which is good stuff. It works pretty well. But it ran. I mean, those were all flat nose, so that's good. This is another weird one. So look at this. These I use in my SP5. They are 150 grain Federal Syntec, little lipsticks. And these are kind of a bizarre round. They do well in the SP5, but because once again they've got that flat nose, they don't always chamber super well in some platforms. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Chambered. Yeah, I mean, it worked. It worked. Let's see what we got here. A couple more. We'll shoot a couple and then we'll talk a little bit more after we get through these two mags. Okay. All right, so I'm going to set this down on the table. Might even pour a little water on it. We'll see. It's hot. Dang. So let's talk a little more. In terms of what I did to upgrade this gun. So I did, like I said, put the LTT trigger job in a bag in there. It greatly improves the reset as well as lightening the trigger pull. It went from probably about a 8 to 4 pound transition to like a 6 pound to 3-ish pound transition. And I think that single action, I've got it on the trigger gauge between 2 and 3 pounds. So it's like right on the bleeding edge. It's nice. And obviously you saw that reset was like super short. I do have a Gray Guns flat trigger for it. The Gray Guns trigger has this little tiny pin that you have to push out of the standard polymer curve trigger. And as of right now, I'm too much of a weenie to push that out because I don't want to break the trigger bar. I have actually gotten used to the curved trigger at this point, and I don't mind it anymore. I do like a flat trigger for most of my guns, but I'll say in the original LTT PX4 that I had, that flat trigger, it's such a long reach for me with my medium-sized hands to get to that flat trigger and pull through the double action that I'm like on the fence whether I want to put the Gray Guns trigger in this one or not because I've gotten so used to the curved trigger and it feels okay to me. So that's another thing, maybe or maybe not. We'll see if I put it in there. I did have it milled for the Red Dot by Langdon. They're pretty much the only company that cuts this specific type of gun for Red Dots. They cut them for RMAs, Acros, 509Ts, EPSs, and Delta points. Whoever's running a Delta point anymore. The front of the cut has a dovetail, and we'll see if we can cut some of that footage in. So hopefully it shouldn't move back and forth at all, and shouldn't walk out. That plate is actually integrated with the back iron. So it was torqued down when I got it, and it was actually witness marked as well. So hopefully the plate won't have problems like regular guys did. They do Cerakote your slide afterwards as well. You've got an option of like black, FDE, OD green, and then the sniper gray, which is the standard color. I just had them do the same color for me because I didn't really care. That was a concern with some other guns, or some people had told me in the comment section of my original video. Maybe it was the Cerakote getting into the slide rails or getting the barrel locking interface. Maybe that was the problem. I don't know. I mean, possibly, but this one hasn't had problems, so we'll just leave it at that. In terms of mags, I'm running all factory mags. I know Langdon does coat his mags with NP3, and I didn't have any issues with those, so can't fault them. But these standard Beretta factory mags are great, and I'll throw these to my loading guy. In terms of other things, you'll see I did put grip tape on this. So this gun is slick. If you can see all this, this is all of the texture that you have on here, all the way down. The only places that have any texture are front and back. There are these little diamonds or triangles, and it's not that great. So I have to put something on it. The original Langdon gun had some stippling on it from Langdon Tactical, I believe, and that was very grippy. I did like that stippling, but as of right now, I think this has been pretty good the way it is with the grip tape and just using chalk. I haven't done a dedicated carry for this recently, so we'll see if I decide to start carrying it again, then maybe we'll stipple it, but I don't know, we'll see. So sorry about the cut there. Our camera overheated, so we had to let it cool down for a bit. You might see that the shadows have shifted a little bit. It's been like 5-10 minutes to let it cool down and charge a little bit. And we did put some oil on the gun. It's getting a little bit dirty. We did cool it down quite a bit, so hopefully we can make it through the rest of our rounds here. We've calculated, we've probably gone through, I think we said we were close to, with these rounds, we'll be close to 470 or so. So that's pretty good. I'll take it. Get this guy in here. How about we go up and do a little bill drill action. So this isn't on a timer, obviously, but we'll see how we do here. Ah, trigger freeze. Trying to look cool. Try again here. Not too bad. So it's still running well. Not feeling any extra hitches or anything like that. We added the oil in it. It was getting dirty, but shoot a little bit more here. So we've got some Fiocchi range dynamics. The Fiocchi range dynamics in the first LTT PX4 did not work at all. That gun hated that ammo. And this is a standard ammo that I use. So it was very frustrating that it wouldn't work. So hopefully it'll work in this one. I can feel that the Fiocchi, even though I think it's 115. It's 115. It's a little hotter than the Federal is. So, oh man, it did it. It did it. Okay, but it went in. Okay, we'll give it that. Maybe it's the ammo. It would have those failures all the time with all kinds of ammos on the original gun. And like I said, we've shot however many rounds through this thing, and it's getting dirty and hot. So we'll see if we can get through the round. I mean, I'll give it one failure in like 1,500 rounds, which is how many have been through, without a failure otherwise. So this is Blazer 124, and this stuff actually works pretty well most of the time. It's a little dirty, but hopefully this runs. I did run some Blazer 115 through the old gun, and didn't have any issues with it. So hopefully this one likes it. Okay, well, I think we're getting pretty close here. Ammo guy, if you want to stop loading, that's fine. I think we've done the thing. Ooh, smoking. Steamy. All right. Well, let's put this thing down and it's smoking, and we can talk about the gun a little bit more and kind of close it out. So we got some pros and cons. It's an excellent shooter. It has a pristine trigger. It has decent capacity. Overall cons, it's pretty chunky. I mean, you can see the dimensions of it compared to some other guns, and it's a chunky boy. You also have to send it out to be milled if you're interested in a dot. It doesn't come factory with a dot option at this point. And this thing is quirky. Can you consider that a pro? I don't know. There is like a super crazy following for these guns. People either love them or they hate them. I don't mind it. For me, it's not a con, and I like double action, single action guns, so it's good, but it's a little quirky for your average gun guy. Also, very limited aftermarket. So obviously we talked about Langdon is really the only one who does much with these in terms of internal milling or internal work as well as milling and things like that. And it has a pretty limited holster selection. So JM Custom Kydex is one of the only companies that makes holsters for it. Plus, it's oogly. Would you take a look at that? Would you just look at it?
Would you look at this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Just take a look at that. It's really ugly. So I have proven to myself without a doubt that the PX4 Storm Compact Carry version 2 is an awesome gun, and one that does in fact function with my medium-sized hands and my mediocre grip strength. I want to thank Ernest and Amy for milling this gun for me. I know with all of the disagreements and strife over the previous gun that they could have said no, but they didn't hold it against me and they're willing to do the work. So good on them for that. And this gun has been awesome since I've got it back from them. Is this gun for everyone? Like everything on the Pop Doctor, probably not. It's chunky, it's quirky, it's ugly, but it's a super smooth shooting, fairly small polymer double action, single action that has a lot of character. So I can say this one probably has close to 2,000 rounds through it now, and I can trust this. It can go in my carry rotation. So while this isn't technically an apology video to Langdon, I will concede that they do decent work, and I really think that first PX4 Storm that I got was just a lemon. So I made lemonade. This is the Pop Doctor signing off. I may or may not be a doctor.
Two slugs is too much.